welcome to a reading vlog. Today, or for the rest of this week, I would like to read a bunch of books that are nominated for the Goodreads Choice Awards. I really enjoy reading a bunch of nominations as a challenge each year. I don't always share it because I'm not very good at vlogging, which is probably not the best thing to say at the beginning of a reading vlog, but I'm actually recording this after having read a few of the books and recorded some clips. So I know that it's gone reasonably well, which is good enough for me. So I actually really love the Goodreads Choice Awards. I know not everyone does. A lot of people have a lot to say about the awards, but I think they're a lot of fun, and I like that the community comes together and votes for a bunch of books. I like that Goodreads randomly puts in books that none of us have heard of. I think that's always a fun surprise, and I love trying to predict who is going to win. I did post a reaction video when the first round was announced, and what I was considering doing was trying to read all of the nominees for one genre, or reading the books that I thought were going to win. But what I've decided to do instead is just do it the laziest way possible and just read a few books from different categories, whichever ones I feel like mood reading. That's what I've ended up with. I've been really enjoying watching everyone else's reading vlogs, and I hope you guys enjoy mine. So I've decided on my first read, and I've gone with When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I'm not really sure what to expect from this one, to be honest. I know that it's big on TikTok, but I don't think many people on Booktube seem to be enjoying it, or at least reading it and talking about it. But I decided to go with this anyway because it was on my shelf. I got it this hardback for like £5, so that was a really good deal. Even if I don't love it, I'm still going to be okay with it. And I think because this is a romantasy book, typically those are really like fast paced and you can fly through them. So I was thinking this is a really good one to start the vlog with because it's going to be like an easy win, even if I don't like it. So I'm a bit hesitant, but I think I'll like it. Nothing about it is like putting me off right now. So it says here that it's about an assassin called Rave who is a bounty hunter or something, and also a dragon rider called Khan who took the head of a king and donned his melted crown. So his name is King Khan. Okay, at least it's spelled differently. A clue lures him into the capital's high-security prison where he stumbles upon the imprisoned Rave, and together they seek truths that threaten to unravel everything they know about their world and each other. It's got a map, so yeah, I'm looking forward to carrying on with this one. I have actually already read the first... Where am I? I'm reading on my Kindle as well because it's on Kindle Unlimited. I'm up to chapter 11, and the beginning is really, really slow. However, I think that's because this book is so freaking long, and I do have faith that it's going to pick up and it's not going to be a huge slog the whole way through. If it is, I'm not going to be very happy because I don't want to read 600 pages of this. But at the moment, I've met Rave, and she has been at a sort of bar sort of place, and she's tried to kill someone, and I'm not a massive fan of the writing style so far. I feel like the author is trying to be like really like vague and mysterious, and is talking like round in circles because the author knows stuff that we don't right now, I'm guessing. I guess she wants to put like little hints in there, but they're not really hints, she's like avoiding the topic. So I'm going to carry on with this throughout today. I don't think I can finish it today. I think that's asking a bit too much of me because this is like 550 pages, but I'm hoping I can at least get a chunk of the way through because I've not got many plans for today. I'm looking forward to meeting Khan, even though he does have a funny name, and I'm looking forward to the two of them meeting because I feel like in a romantasy book, you need to have a good ship. Otherwise, there's no point in it being a romantasy, is there? So I'm looking forward to the two of them meeting. I think that's probably where it's all going to kick off. But for now, I'm trying to wrap my head around the world building and what is actually going on in some of these scenes because Rave knows things clearly that the reader doesn't. It's kind of confusing right now. I will persevere. I've read a little bit more since we last spoke, or since I last spoke to you. I'm now, where am I? 215 pages in. So I'm on chapter 35. Sorry if you can hear the squeaking, that's my dog. It's still a really slow start. It has picked up slightly, but I wouldn't say anything is like kicking off yet. Okay, so a couple of my problems. First of all, the slow start, obviously. Just have to ignore the squeaking. Secondly, I didn't love that the main character's best friend, whose name I can't remember. I want to say a lead, but that's someone from Throne of Glass. And I don't think this is a spoiler, by the way, but her best friend, let's just call her a lead for fun. She is killed right in the beginning to further the main character's like trauma and journey and the plot, which is a trope that I really don't enjoy in these books. It happens a lot in fantasy, as I'm sure most of us are aware. It's a really annoying trope and I really don't like it. I felt nothing for this main character who was killed, and the main character keeps referring to her and going on about her, and I'm like, I didn't even know you were friends, basically. She was in one scene, one significant scene, and she's had a few mentions by the main character, but I think at this point, by 200 pages, she's also not being spoken about as much. So it's kind of like, what was the point in this character? This Rave, the main character, has also been through, I think, enough trauma to not have bothered introducing a lead. I just don't really see the point or the purpose other than using this as like a starting off point to have the main character Rave go on like a revenge quest. I feel like she could have gone on a revenge quest without that anyway. I'm not loving that, but it is starting to pick up a bit now that the two main characters, Rave and Khan, have met. I still can't take his name seriously. They've met, and it's kicking off in that sense. I've got some theories. I think this book is trying to introduce some sort of a mystery that's going to probably go throughout the book or throughout this series. I assume it's going to be revealed and resolved in this first one because I've read enough books to know like when a cliffhanger reveal is going to happen. It's kind of making me think of when Kale reacted to some news at the end of, was it Crown of Midnight or Air of Fire? I feel like it was one of those two books. He has a moment where he like drops to his knees in realization, and I feel like that's where this is leading to. It's gonna be that kind of reveal. What I am quite enjoying actually is that this book also has some diary entries. A character called, is it Elwyn or Elvin? It's her diary, and I'm finding those very interesting. I don't normally like diary entries in books when it cuts up the plot, but in this one I'm actually quite enjoying it, so I feel like that's a good sign. I've got a few Bookmas related things to do today, so I'm probably not going to read much more of this until this evening, but then I think, because I've read quite a bit, I think I'll probably power through and finish this either tonight or tomorrow morning. What I am also listening to is an audiobook called it's called Disney High, The Untold Story of the Rise and Fall of Disney Channel's Tween Empire. And I've been listening to a little bit of that this morning as well, while I've been doing like tasks around the house. And it's really interesting so far. It's talking literally about the Tween Empire at Disney. So I'm going to read a bit more of that. I'll tell you more about that when I next catch up with you. But I'm finding it very interesting so far. And I'm hoping to finish that in the next couple of days. Probably not today, because I've got enough reading to do with When the Moon Hatched.
Good morning. So I finished When the Moon Hatched last night, and I actually really enjoyed it. Last time I spoke to you, I wasn't too sure. I think maybe I had said that it had picked up, which it did. The ending, I'm just trying to get out of this glare. The ending was a bit slow again, so I feel like this book definitely like had its ups and downs. The beginning was really slow. The middle was quite good once I was actually invested in the characters, and then the ending was slow, as I said. It just kind of like fizzled out, but I did enjoy it. I think I'm about to go into the office, so I can't really chat too much, but I'll give you a full review later on. I just also wanted to mention that I started listening to Disney High as an audiobook on the way to work, which is where I am now. So I'm going to carry on with that today. I'll update you later.
So I finished 2 books now. I'm just getting ready to Saxon, please. He's wondering what I'm doing. I'm just getting ready to record some videos for Bookmas because I've got the day off today and I need to make the most of it. So I finished reading, what's wrong? So I finished reading When the Moon Hatched. I've spoken about that already, but not really in much detail. I think it didn't really take me long to process my thoughts. It's just the other morning I was obviously on my way to work and I wasn't really thinking much about books. I did enjoy it. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. It's not the most like amazing book I've ever read. It's certainly not the most unique fantasy book or romantasy, not that I've read much romantasy, but I still really enjoyed it. I liked the middle a lot more than the beginning and the end. I think the author kind of dropped the ball at the ending because, like I said earlier in the video, it kind of just fizzled out, and I was expecting kind of a dramatic ending because it had seemed that it was building up that way. I did, however, in the middle of the book cry because the dragons just made me so emotional. It was just such a lovely connection and relationship that we were reading about. The princess in the flashbacks and the diary entries had a dragon, and reading about those two and how the dragon supported her and she supported the dragon was just wonderful. And I really hope that we see more dragons in the sequels, because at the moment we've not seen many live dragons like in the present day. So that's what I'm hoping for. I don't think you can really market a book as a dragon book if it's not got dragons in it, like for at least 80% in my opinion. But I really enjoyed the concept of the dragons when they are about to die going up into the sky and then solidifying and becoming moons. I thought that was really unique and interesting. So it did have some good stuff going for it. It's just the beginning and the ending were a bit naff, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It's not my favourite book ever, but it was good. And then I also just finished listening to Disney High this morning while I was tidying up. Not that you can really tell that I've tidied in here because my husband's ill, so his side of the bed is a bit of a state. I listened to the rest of Disney High and I did enjoy it. I don't think it was really giving anything unique that I couldn't have found, this could sound really sad, but that I couldn't have watched a video on YouTube. But I suppose it's good to have like a different format for this kind of thing, and I do really enjoy listening to like podcasts about this sort of stuff. I can't remember if I mentioned what Disney High is about, but basically it discusses Disney's like tween empire from where it began with the Disney Club, with Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake and that, up to just before Zendaya got her start, I think. It doesn't actually discuss Zendaya, which is why I'm not sure it doesn't get that far. But it started out with, like I said, the Mickey Mouse Club, and then goes into detail about all of the different Disney stars, or tween Disney stars in order. Starting out with Shia LaBeouf, I think. Then it talks about Hilary Duff, Miley Cyrus, Selena Gomez, and all these kind of different eras of Disney. So I never had the Disney Channel growing up. I know, how awful, because we didn't have cable, I guess it's called, like a subscription. So I didn't watch a lot of these shows unless I was around my friend's house. I remember really enjoying most of them. I really liked Zach and Cody, but I was like one of the last people in my year to watch High School Musical because I just didn't have access to the Disney Channel. I felt a little bit, not disconnected, but I was definitely more interested in the sort of celebrity side, part of the book that was discussing like the show and the behind the scenes stuff and episodes of the show. Not that that was really the focus. Yeah, because I wasn't a fan of the shows growing up, it didn't really have a massive impact on me, but I did really enjoy and still do reading gossip sites, and I know that's awful. For example, I really like FOMO on Reddit, so I knew about the celebrities but not necessarily their characters, and like Miley Cyrus's whole like Pilates era when she was what, 19, 20. Really liked learning more about all of that. I don't think it really went like super in depth with anything, which was a bit disappointing. It definitely wasn't the kind of book that covers absolutely everything in detail, and it's quite a short audiobook as well. But for, you know, a brief glance into what the Disney Channel were doing, I thought it was quite interesting. So I enjoyed that. I'm probably going to give it 4 stars. I like the narrator as well. The narrator was Miranda from Lizzie McGuire. So she had to read about her own drama, which I found quite interesting. All in all, quite a good book. I think if I want to learn more about this kind of stuff, then obviously I will just listen to podcasts and things if, you know, I get the urge. It was very interesting to read this actually the same year that that Nickelodeon show came out. It was a very different topic, obviously. Can't remember what the Nickelodeon one was called, but it came out earlier this year and like caused an uproar. Now I'm going to read another book, which is The Storm We Made, but I'm going to record a few videos first and then I'm going to make a start. It's a really short book, so I reckon I can probably finish it today because I've got the day off. It's currently 10 o'clock in the morning, so I reckon if I spend the morning recording videos, I can then read the book and hopefully I enjoy that. So that one's a historical fiction book set in Malaysia, I think, during Japanese occupation. So yeah, I think that could be quite fun. Quite interesting to read about. I definitely need another coffee because now I'm sort of just rambling. I'm going to finish getting ready and I guess decide which videos I need to prep for Bookmas. Obviously this is going to be a Bookmas video, what I'm recording now. But I've got about a million other videos to record. I don't think I'm quite ready to record my best books of the year yet because it's only the beginning of December. There are a few things I can do, and then my bookshelf tour. I think I'll probably have to do that next weekend because I don't think I've got the energy this weekend to do it. But maybe I can do that on Sunday. So yeah, I'll talk to you in a little bit. So I've spent the morning recording a bunch of videos, but I have read a little bit more, or I started even, The Storm We Made. I am currently 98 pages in. I'm almost at the end of a chapter, but I've been talking for so long that I need to go and get some water and some food. Ignore like everything that's going on. I've just got books all over the floor, so this is the only angle that I have. So this is about a woman who lives in Malaysia. Her name is Cecily, and it's told in 2 timelines and following her and her family in both. In the earlier timeline, it's set in the 1930s before World War II broke out, or as it was breaking out, and Cecily is a young mum and she is kind of sick of the British who have been colonising Malaysia for so long, and she wants to do something to kind of return her country to its people, and she comes across, or she is approached by a Japanese man, and he is basically, I think, trying to infiltrate the government. The synopsis has kind of confirmed this. and because Cecily has connections with the British, I think what's going to happen is that he's going to try to use her. And then in the later timeline, war has broken out. Japan is now occupying Malaysia, and things have not really gone to plan, I think. I'm not really sure what Cecily and this guy are going to get up to. I assume they're going to have an affair because that's just kind of like the obvious direction for them to go. But we're also following Cecily's kids, which is a really interesting dynamic because we're following the two generations. And we're kind of seeing starting to see how Cecily's actions, compliance with this Japanese guy, are affecting her children so severely now that Japan is in the country. I'll be honest, I didn't really know much about Malaysian history, so the beginning was very, very interesting. And I really like the author's note at the beginning as well. She talks about how her grandparents were in Malaysia when Japan invaded. And it's just something they would not talk about. So she had to find out a lot of the things that had happened to them later on, much, much later, and sometimes through other people. And I think it's going to talk about like all of that kind of trauma. I should probably mention there are 3 children that this is following, but I don't think we've had a point of view from the youngest yet, but I was flicking through and I saw that she does get a point of view. In fact, I'm reaching that in 2 pages. You don't really see much of the siblings all together, or I haven't yet, and I hope that's something the author does explore because I really do enjoy reading about a good sibling dynamic and relationship, especially if the mother, Cecily, starts to like distance herself from her kids because she feels so guilty. I'm just guessing here because that's the sort of direction that I can see it going down. I'm really enjoying it for the historical aspect and learning a lot more. It's very educational to me. I do worry about how dark it's going to get because something quite awful has already happened to one of the children, and that's why I stopped, because I couldn't carry on reading just yet. I just worry something, or worse, more terrible things or equally terrible things are going to continue to happen throughout the book, and that would put a real downer on my evening and on this vlog. Nevertheless, I am enjoying the story so far. I like that it's told in 2 timelines, and I like that it's following 2 generations of the family as well. Very interesting, and I'm looking forward to carrying on later. Good morning. I am just getting ready to, well, I'm already ready. I'm just warming up the car so that I can go to the library, drop some books back, maybe have a bit of a browse in Waterstones and the works. Since it's post Black Friday now, they'll probably be having some sales. I read a little bit more of The Storm We Made last night, and I made it to about 150 pages, I think, so I've got about half the book left, and I'm still feeling pretty much the same about it right now as I was last night. I'm going to aim to finish it today because I do need to get this vlog up in a couple of days' time. I was kind of considering whether I could fit another book in, but I don't think that's realistic, so I'm probably going to stop here. But I will finish off The Storm We Made, and I will obviously let you know how it goes. But yeah, I'm just waiting for my car to warm up, and then I'm going to go into town, do some book browsing. So I'm just getting ready for Vlogmas to start because today is the day, and I'm hyped. I'm quite scared. So I haven't really done much reading because I've been so focused on like editing all these videos and like whacking them out. So I've read a little bit more of The Storm We Made, but I do need to edit a couple more videos today that are going up this week, so I don't think I'm gonna have time until this evening to finish off the book. I also need to record an intro to this vlog because I haven't done that yet. So I'm just kind of all over the place. I think I tried to start recording for Bookmas really early. I did the videos that I was able to record early, like super early, so like my TBR videos and December new releases, but a lot of other stuff can only be done as I'm reading the books, like this vlog. So I'm kind of feeling the pressure now because this vlog has to go up in 2 days and I'm getting a cold, so none of this is great, but I just wanted to update you guys on what's going on with my reading, which is not much, but I will update you all later because I am finishing this book later. I have to, I've got no other choice. Okay, so we're at the end of the reading vlog now. I have changed angle from my intro clip because I thought I would try to make it look a little bit different, but as I told you in my last clip, I didn't record an intro. So I feel like this reading vlog has gone reasonably well. I think next year I can probably do a few things better, like not having a crooked camera would really help. I really need to improve my reading vlogs, I know that, but I do still quite enjoy just doing really casual ones. I'm not really about all of this like b-roll and creativity. That's just not something that I can do. So I finished The Storm We Made and I've decided to give it 3 stars. I just wasn't really that impressed. I think it felt very disconnected from the characters, and I feel like this should have been a very character-based story, and I think that's what the author was trying to go for, but instead it turned into just hit after hit of miserable trauma for each of the characters without actually getting to know them that well, and the whole thing just felt really kind of dark, miserable and grey. like the weather outside. It's literally storming here. There's a storm going on at the moment. So I wasn't a massive fan of it. I did really appreciate that the author was telling her family's story. Although I hope this kind of stuff didn't all happen to her family. It's just a reality that this did happen to people during the war, and that's really sad. I feel like I could have connected with Cecily more if we had spent a bit more time in her head. And I feel like I knew bits and pieces about her, but there just wasn't enough time just spent with her. I feel like if we'd have just spent time with Cecily and not with her children necessarily, or not with all three of her children, that could have been a bit better. So yeah, 3 stars for this one. It's an okay debut, but nothing amazing. And then I also went rogue and read This Cursed House. I wasn't going to read it in this vlog, and I guess I didn't because I didn't record any clips, but this one was nominated for the horror category and it came in from the library, and I just decided to pick it up and see what I thought of it, and it reads so quickly. So This Cursed House is about a woman who's living in the 60s, and she is originally from Chicago, but then things go a little bit wrong up there. Her partner cheats on her and impregnates another woman. So she receives a job offer as a nanny to a rich family down south. She goes down to Louisiana and then discovers that it's not really a nannying job at all. She's actually going to this house to break a curse. It's a really good story. I really enjoyed it. It's really well written. Like I said, it's really fast paced. I think it was just a little bit too long. I'm gonna give it 4 stars because it did keep me reading, and I really enjoyed reading about all the characters and all the connections and this weirdo family. It was really interesting. I should probably also mention that the main character is black, and the weirdo family, they are basically white, but they call themselves coloured because they say that they're descended from black people, and they are like holding on to that even though they're all like pale skin, blue eyes, probably blonde hair. So the main character is trying to navigate that as well. She is joining this household of very white privileged people, but also treating her very differently because she is very dark skinned. So yeah, I did really enjoy it. I liked the ghosty stuff. That was a lot of fun. And I like the whole curse breaking thing. There were some twists in there that I thought were a lot of fun as well, but it was just like a smidge too long. I feel like it could have been 100 pages shorter. I'd highly recommend it though. I think you should check that one out. That was a good debut. So yeah, now I'm done with the reading vlog. I feel like I had a successful time reading. Not so much vlogging because again, I'm terrible at it, but I will continue to try to improve. What I was going to do actually was look at the Goodreads Awards winners, because I haven't looked at that yet and I don't know who has won. It was announced yesterday and I've been so good not looking. So I'm gonna do that now. Can't even remember who I guessed would win or what my predictions were for most of them. Just waiting for my phone to load because it's slow. Okay, let's click and see what's going on. Okay, yeah, nothing surprising here, I don't think. So for fiction, we have The Wedding People. Historical fiction, Kristen Hanna has won, obviously. The God of the Woods did win, and I was wondering if it would because everyone has been talking about it, but I honestly thought Freda McFadden would take that one. I'll take a look in a second and see if the votes were split. Emily Henry won the romance category, not Abby Jimenez, which is disappointing. Stephen King won. Ministry of Time won science fiction, which I again predicted. TJ Klune won fantasy. Sarah J Maas won romantasy, of course. How to End a Love Story won debut novel. I can't speak today, I don't know what's going on. Emily Henry won audiobook. Rebecca Ross won YA fantasy. Heartstopper won YA fiction, cool. And then these non-fictions won, I don't know anything about those. I just want to see how the votes were split for some of these. I can't actually remember what was nominated in fiction or what I predicted would win. Oh, Sally Rooney. I thought Sally Rooney would win. I think everyone did. But I think what has actually happened is the book wasn't out for long enough. I think it only came out in like September. So not enough people had read it because that's quite a lot of votes for The Wedding People to have won by. I haven't read The Wedding People yet, but I'd really like to. I've actually got Real Americans from the library and I'd like to read that one in December. And I've heard some things about Margot's Got Money Troubles now, and I'd like to give that one a go. Historical fiction. Oh wow, she wiped the floor of that one. Kristen Hanna's The Women got 250,000 votes to James's 62,000, which is wild. And then The Frozen River came 3rd. So those were my top contenders, those 3. I still really like to read Anita de Monte and The Great Divide and The Bullet Swallower, and then there's The Storm We Made Down There with only 3,000 votes. So yeah, that one was kind of as predicted. Mystery thriller. Yeah, so the top 4 are basically ones that I predicted. So we've got The God of the Woods, First Light Wins, and then after that we've got the 2 Freda McFaddens, The Boyfriend and The Teacher, which I think together, if you add those up, they would have won, but the votes were split. Together they would have reached over 100,000 votes. whereas The God of the Woods got 82,000. Yeah, it's a mistake having 2 books in one category. So Riley Sager is doing like less and less well each year, I think. Romance, let's see where Abby Jimenez got to. Oh, second. Only just. Okay, so she lost or came second with, what, 39,000 votes less than Emily Henry. So it's a shame she didn't win, but I'm glad that she came second because she deserves it. And then we've got Bride in there as well. Nothing out there about that, although this Ali Hazelwood has only got 10,000. I guess not many people have read that one. Romantasy, I don't even know what could have come second to this. Apprentice to the Villain and Quicksilver. I saw that Quicksilver has been bought, like its movie rights have been bought, which is interesting. I've not read it, but I'm planning to now because I think people want the recap. I'm glad Gold only got a few votes because it doesn't deserve any. TJ Klune won, but only just by 1,000 votes. That's wild. Okay, so Lee Bardugo would have won. I've got that one out from the library as well, but I haven't read it yet. I've also got The Foxwife out on the Book of Doors, but I haven't read those. Let's see what the Ministry of Time is up to. I really don't think this one should have won. I don't know what should have, but yeah, it's got like double the amount of votes the rest of them have because everyone has been reading this year. Horror, there's probably not even any point looking at it because Stephen King would have won by so much. Okay, not that much, 14,000 votes. We Used to Live Here came second. I thought it might do. And then where's This Cursed House? Second last with only 1,000 votes. I guess it's not very popular, to be fair. Like, not many people are reading it, but I think it deserves to be higher up on the list. Which other ones do I care about? We've got YA Fantasy, the sequel to Powerless. Almost won. I'm glad it didn't. And then we've got Holly Black up there in the top 4, Brandon Sanderson top 5. And then lastly, let's just take a quick look at YA fiction. Okay, Holly Jackson came second, which I love. Great choice. I did really enjoy that book by her, although it's not as good as her original trilogy, of course. And then we've got the sequel to Better Than the Movies and then Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So the big heavy hitters are at the top. And then Diana Urban got 1,600 votes. Maureen Johnson down here because it's not the Truly Devious series. And then, yeah, all of these are in the middle. This is another case of Lynn Painter having, or an author having 2 books in the same category and the votes being split. It wouldn't have quite won, if my maths is correct, if she only had 1 book on there, but I really do think authors should just, complain if there's more than 1 book on there. I really want to read That's Not My Name, that's why I'm zooming into that, and then Where Sleeping Girls Lie, I've got that from the library as well. A pretty mediocre year, I think, for the Goodreads Choice Awards. I don't really know what to say other than that, so thank you for watching. I will speak to you all again in my next Bookmas video, and happy reading!